Have you ever had the feeling that the universe is taking you away from people, opportunities, or paths that once seemed to be the right ones? This feeling of isolation and deep loneliness is not a punishment or a sign that everything is against you. Today, we will explore a new perspective, a look that goes deeper into our mind and soul, offering a transformative way to understand these dark moments. From the ideas of the renowned Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, who dedicated his life to unraveling the mysteries of the human psyche, we can understand the process of individuation as one of the most important paths of any person's existence. This concept is not limited to simple personal growth or adaptation to social expectations, but concerns a deep and complex internal journey, the goal of which is to achieve the fullness of being. Individuation is a path of integration and harmony between the various facets of our personality, both conscious and unconscious. However, this journey is not simple and often involves periods of deep loneliness. It is no coincidence that many of us feel this sense of isolation precisely in moments of great internal transformations. According to Jung, this process is essential for each individual to become who they really are. It is not just about adjusting to society's norms or meeting the expectations of others. Rather than conforming to the masks we wear to fit into different social roles, individuation invites us to explore our most authentic essence. However, this essence is not easily accessible or accepted. It is hidden under layers of social conditioning, imposed beliefs, and aspects of ourselves that we prefer to ignore or repress. One of the most challenging aspects of this journey is the integration of what Jung called the shadow. The shadow represents those parts of our psyche that we reject or ignore, either because we find them unacceptable or because they don't fit the image we want to project to the world. These parts include impulses, desires, fears, and characteristics that we may see as negative or shameful. However, Jung believed that the shadow is not inherently evil. She is only unknown and, therefore, feared. For him, individuation is, to a large extent, a process of reconciliation with one's own shadow. This involves acknowledging, accepting, and ultimately integrating these dark parts to our conscious level. This process is neither quick nor easy. It requires courage to face what we have avoided and to dismantle the barriers we have built to protect ourselves from the uncomfortable aspects of our own mind. This is where isolation plays a crucial role. Often, the process of individuation cannot take place in the company of other people, especially if we are surrounded by those who reinforce our masks and social expectations. To be able to hear the voices that whisper within us, it is necessary to be alone, away from external noise and influences that divert us from our true nature. This isolation can be a deliberate choice, as in the case of those who choose to withdraw from the world temporarily to seek internal answers, or it can be something imposed by the circumstances of life, forcing us to face loneliness. This loneliness, as painful as it is essential to the process of individuation. In silence and introspection, we have the opportunity to confront our shadows without the distractions of the outside world. This is a moment of deep reflection, in which we begin to unravel the threads of our own history and see clearly who we really are, beyond the expectations of society and the roles that have been imposed on us. The process of individuation also involves a rebalancing of the psychic energies within us. Jung described the human psyche as composed of several polarities: conscious and unconscious, male and female, light and shadow. Individuation, in its essence, is a process of reconciliation and harmonization of these polarities. When we integrate our shadow, we not only become more complete, but we also release psychic energies that were previously repressed or blocked. Releasing this energy can generate a deep sense of vitality, creativity, and authenticity. However, it is important to understand that the process of individuation is not linear and does not have a well-defined endpoint. It is a continuous journey throughout life, in which we continue to discover and rediscover aspects of ourselves. As we mature and face new challenges, this journey deepens and expands. In this way, the moments of isolation that we experience throughout life are not one-time events, but recurring and necessary parts of our psychological and spiritual development. Isolation, often seen as a form of suffering or punishment, can actually be one of the most powerful paths to authenticity. The universe does not isolate us out of cruelty, but because it knows that in order to find our true selves, we need to get rid of external distractions. In our daily routine, we are constantly surrounded by stimuli, opinions, expectations, and noises that take us away from our essence. This isolation, which may initially seem like a punishment, is actually a valuable opportunity for introspection and self-discovery. When we feel isolated, we are receiving a direct invitation to look within, to confront parts of ourselves that we have avoided for too long. This process can be daunting at first, especially for those who aren't used to solitude or spending time with themselves. In a world where external noise and constant distractions have become the norm, silence and solitude can feel uncomfortable, even discouraging. However, it is in these moments of silence and isolation that the deepest truth about who we really are is revealed. We can compare this experience to being in the middle of a dark forest, with no one around. At first, the darkness can seem intimidating, even oppressive. But as the eyes adjust to the lack of light, we begin to see the shapes and shadows around us. What once seemed daunting turns into a mysterious landscape, full of life and meaning. Isolation works the same way. Initially, we feel only loneliness, emptiness, and perhaps a sense of loss. But over time, if we allow ourselves to be present in that space, we begin to see what is really inside us: our fears, our desires, our dreams, and even the aspects of ourselves that we have repressed or ignored. This process is essential to achieving authenticity. In a society filled with masks and external expectations, the biggest challenge is being authentic. And to be authentic, it is essential to truly know who we are. From an early age, we are bombarded with messages about how we should be, what we should want, and how we should act. These expectations can cloud our perception of who we really are and what we truly desire. Isolation, by disconnecting from these external influences, gives us the opportunity to reconnect with our essence without the interference of others. It offers us a safe space to explore our thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing us to be completely honest with ourselves. It is in this space that we can begin to deconstruct the beliefs and patterns we have adopted without question, and thus reconstruct our identity in an authentic way. This is hard work and often uncomfortable, but essential to living a life that aligns with our true selves. Isolation teaches us to trust our intuition and inner voice more. Without the constant influence of other people's opinions, our intuition is strengthened and our ability to make decisions aligned with our essence improves. In this way, instead of fearing isolation, we can see it as a gift. A moment of reflection, self-knowledge, and transformation that allows us to emerge stronger, wiser, and aligned with our life purpose. Solitude also gives us the opportunity to make peace with our shadows, those parts of ourselves that we reject or hide because they don't fit the image we want to project to the world. When we are alone, without the distractions of the external environment, we can begin to accept these parts of ourselves and see them as a source of strength rather than weakness. This process of acceptance and reconciliation is key to achieving authenticity, because only when we fully accept ourselves can we live genuinely and without fear. In addition, isolation teaches us to trust our own intuition and our inner voice. In solitude, without the constant barrage of external opinions, we are able to strengthen our connection with our deepest feelings. We make decisions not based on what others expect of us, but on what truly resonates with our essence. This ability to trust ourselves makes us more resilient, less dependent on the approval of others, and more connected to our purpose. Carl Jung, one of the great scholars of the human psyche, deeply understood the role of loneliness in personal transformation. For him, true loneliness is not just the absence of companionship, but a deeper psychological experience. As he himself stated, loneliness does not come from the fact that we do not have people around us, but from the inability to communicate what seems important to us. This kind of loneliness, which can arise even when we are surrounded by other people, is what really drives our inner growth. When we feel isolated, we tend to interpret this experience in a negative way, as if something is wrong in our life. However, according to the Jungian view, these moments of deep loneliness can be signs that we are being led to a new understanding of ourselves, our reality, and our place in the world. Thus, solitude can become a catalyst for meaningful change, a chance to move away from outside influences and reconnect with our inner truths. This kind of loneliness is also a creative force. Great artists, philosophers, and spiritual leaders often experience loneliness as a fertile state of introspection. When we withdraw from the noise of the world, we can access an inner space of creativity and inspiration that would otherwise remain unexplored. Creative solitude is not a state of passivity or despair, but a period of deep exploration and discovery. History is full of examples of people who found in solitude a space for transformation and genius. Many artists and writers intentionally isolate themselves to immerse themselves in their creative processes. This state of isolation allows them to access deep aspects of their psyche, revealing thoughts, feelings, and images that would otherwise be hidden beneath the routine of everyday life. Philosophers and spiritual leaders have also sought solitude as a means of achieving clarity and vision. As they moved away from the outside world, they were able to hear their own inner voice more clearly. It is in moments of deep introspection that many of humanity's most revolutionary and transformative ideas have been conceived. Solitude not only facilitates the creative process, but also leads us to question, reflect, and face uncomfortable but necessary truths. When we are alone without external distractions, we are forced to face our insecurities, contradictions, and shadows. This process can be challenging, but it is essential for our growth. As we face these inner truths, we begin to free ourselves from the illusions and self-deceptions that keep us stuck in limiting patterns of behavior and thinking. And it is in this process of confrontation and reflection that true transformation occurs. We stop being a version shaped by the expectations of others and become someone more authentic and aligned with our essence. Solitude, therefore, is not just a state of isolation, but a process of rebirth. Just as the caterpillar isolates itself in a cocoon before emerging as a butterfly, we too can emerge from solitude as fuller, more authentic versions of ourselves. This transformation that occurs in solitude is both internal and external. Internally, we have a clearer perception of our true desires, fears, and aspirations. We become more honest with ourselves, recognizing aspects that we previously avoided. Externally, this transformation is reflected in the way we interact with the world. We no longer feel the need to please others or to follow paths that do not resonate with our true essence. By reconnecting with our authenticity, we start to make choices that are more aligned with our values and purpose. This allows us to establish healthier relationships, work with what really motivates us, and live a more meaningful life. Another benefit of solitude is the strengthening of our emotional and mental resilience. By facing our internal challenges without the constant distraction of the external world, we learn to be more confident in our ability to cope with adversity. We develop an inner strength that allows us to face life's ups and downs with more balance and autonomy. Jung introduced the concept of synchronicity, which suggests that seemingly random coincidences have a deeper meaning and are interconnected in ways that our rational mind cannot fully comprehend. This concept is closely linked to the experience of loneliness, which can often seem purposeless or meaningless. However, from the perspective of synchronicity, isolation can be seen as a crucial period in which the universe is preparing the ground for something new and meaningful. When we find ourselves isolated, either by external circumstances or by an internal need, it may be because important events are yet to come and we need this space to prepare. The greatest advances and discoveries in life do not occur in the midst of chaos and agitation, but in moments of apparent silence and recollection. When we are alone, we can notice patterns and connections that previously went unnoticed. This is a valuable time to open ourselves up to new perceptions and insights. In addition, isolation allows us to redefine our relationship with time. In the rush of everyday life, we are conditioned to see time in a linear and predictable way. But when we surrender to solitude, we can experience a sense of timelessness, where past, present, and future seem to intertwine in mysterious ways. This gives us a new perspective on our journey, helping us to better understand how the events of our life connect in unexpected ways. Often, we can only see the meaning of certain experiences after going through a period of deep reflection. Therefore, loneliness is not a meaningless emptiness, but a space full of potential. It is a time when the universe can communicate with us in a more direct way, offering revelations that would normally be drowned out by the noise of everyday life. Like a seed planted in the dark of the earth, our essence may be growing and developing in silence, preparing to emerge at the right time. Accepting and embracing these moments of isolation can lead us to a deeper level of self-knowledge, creativity, and clarity. Instead of fearing them, we can see them as an opportunity for renewal and alignment with our true essence. When we finally emerge from solitude, we are no longer the same. We are stronger, wiser, and more connected to our purpose.